right, everyone. Welcome back to the Side by Side Australia podcast. We're on episode 6 today. We're getting there. Just for reference, it's November the 14th. So first day of the Adelaide 500, if you're in South Australia, or if you even care. I don't really. But for those racing fans, they're probably into that. So I'll give you a bit of a reference of where we're at. Now, in the co-pilot seat today, I've got BJ, Bryan Wells from Undumeri Expeditions, who specialise in doing side-by-side and four-wheel drive tours up in the Kimberley region in Western Australia, which is probably the only place in Australia where I haven't ridden a side-by-side, so we'll have to chat later, BJ. But welcome to the podcast, buddy.
Thanks, Mick. Thanks for having us, mate.
Too easy. Now, you're not in the Kimberley at the moment, are you?
No, it's the off-season now. Rain's coming in up north, and it's probably up around the 44, 45 degrees at the moment, so I sneak back to the east coast when it's getting hot like that.
So home's up sunny coast, just north of Brizzy.
Sunny coast, yeah. As you can see, it's a bit more greener here. We've got home only. Actually, we did Packsaddle with you, so we haven't been home all that long.
So you came all the way down from the sunny coast to do the Packsaddle ride, and we'll jump into that now. We had a pretty good crew at the Packsaddle ride, and that was the last ride that we did. You had a bit of a couple of different reasons why you wanted to come down and hang out and do that ride. So yeah, give us a bit of an idea of what made you decide to make the journey.
Yeah, it was a bit of a journey. We were about a 16-hour drive down, but I'd seen what you guys were doing with SXS Club of Australia, and for us, there was a few things that you had on the go that I really wanted to actually tap into your brain trust down there, because you guys use a lot more of the X3s, and we are currently building 3 X3s for a customer for next year to do tours with us up in the Kimberley. So wow. I'm more familiar with the Maverick Sports and most of your smaller, or not smaller, but now normally aspirated buggies. So I wanted to come and have a talk to the boys that actually use the X3s and go, okay, what have you guys done to them? What upgrades you've done? And try and get an idea of what we should be doing for these when they go to the Kimberley next year.
Yeah, perfect. No dramas. And what did you learn?
Mate, they're an awesome machine. Power is not a problem. That's definitely obvious. There was a few things. For our application, we'll jump them up to 35s and clutch them up. And that's probably the first thing, just because we deal with a lot more rock than most people would see. I didn't mention earlier, we're doing the Maxes, so the 4 doors. And in our application, I saw, actually, I got to see them pass me many a times, because you guys have certainly got the power over on top of me.
You can't blame me for that. I was in the passenger seat. I had Tony from Griffith Motorcycles driving for me. He's a bit of a lead foot.
Mate, I thought I was doing really well, and you go, yep, I can keep up with the big boys, and all of a sudden one of those things just passed me, and I'm like, okay, I'm back in your place.
You had 100 cc's on us, mate. I don't know why you weren't keeping up. I don't get it.
Well, size only compensates for so much, I found out.
That little snail hanging off the side of our engines that helps, I think.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's very tempting. I saw a kit the other day advertised online for mine to put a snail off the side, or I don't know. At the moment, I haven't broken anything as such in the drivetrain, so it's a compromise. It's horses for courses is a little bit different what you guys had going down there, which is another reason why we wanted to come down to Packsaddle. We do a lot more technical stuff up there, as in rock crawling, hill climbs, that sort of thing. So the idea of doing a desert run was completely different for us. So I wanted to see what it does.
Yeah, absolutely. And the country that we were in was very, very open. It wasn't tight and technical by any stretch of the imagination. But it's no slouch, that Maverick Sport. That was a great little machine.
But I've clicked up 7,000 kilometres on it now, and I've seen a lot of country in it. So I'm not complaining. I was a little envious of the power side of things, but that little rocket, it gets me all over the countryside, and we've managed to find and explore some pretty wild country in it.
Now, we had a chat yesterday about how we went under the fence and along the creek bed to get into that property on the Saturday morning while we were off trying to find the key to get through the gate. Bit of a communication issue we had there, but we got that all sorted out. Now, it's a cool story, and I want to share it. I know we're a bit iffy as to whether we would or not, but I remember I was standing on the bank of that river. And it would have been about a K from where we entered under the fence, cruised along the river. It was a bit rough and undulating, a few washouts and everything. And then we found the track that went up onto the main paddock area. And I was standing there as everyone was coming down the river. And I remember seeing about halfway along the river, just this wave of sand come flying out the front of your buggy. What happened?
Well, you saw more than I saw, I can tell you that. Prior to that, every time we'd stop, I'd get out and I'm shaking the front end of my buggy because I had this rattle that developed overnight, and it was doing my mind. I was trying to work out what was causing this rattle right in the centre of my dash, and I was scooting along, and every time we'd pull up, I'd get out and shake the thing. We dropped into that creek bed, and I had this thought. I've got a little tiny, I think it's for putting goggles in front of my steering wheel, little glove box, I guess you call it.
Yep,
yeah, that's the one. Yeah, it just pops up. That's the fella. Now, I thought for a second, I took a set of goggles out of there this morning. Maybe there's something in there. And I opened it up as I'm at speed down that little creek you're talking about. And I put my hand in there and I found 2 live shotgun shells. And that's what was the noise was. They were rolling around. And I think the moment you saw me, I'd literally picked them up and gone, that's it. And then fallen straight into a hole, and I didn't even see it. I saw the whites of your eyes as I emerged from the sand, but I didn't even know what I'd done. And when I pulled up, you were giggling your head off going, did you actually see what you did? I'm like, nah, I had no idea.
Yeah. I'm not going to ask what the shotgun shells were for. You must have been doing some Crocodile Dundee fishing up there in the Kimberley.
Hey, what happens in the Kimberley stays in the Kimberley.
The barramundis are bloody big fish, exactly.
You were reading my mind right then. Yeah, no, but I think it was more spectacular from where you were because all I could see was a cloud of sand. So.
It was impressive, just this big red wave came up in front of you.
That was, I wouldn't say. Actually. Yeah, mate, tell you what I really enjoyed over the weekend was the camaraderie. The boys all got in and had a good time, and we met so many more enthusiasts, which was great. I loved it.
Yeah, well, every time we do one of these rides, there's a bunch of the regular guys that can't make it, but the numbers are still growing every time. So there's all these new riders out there that we've never met before that hear about it and listen to the podcast, and they just show up, they sign up. I get their memberships come through on the website a couple of weeks before. It's like, there's a newie. And everyone's got their act together. Everyone's level-headed. It's just a really good growing group of people, of kids, of wives. It's fantastic, mate. I want to see more girls coming along driving. That'd be better.
Yeah, well, Pen, she normally comes with me everywhere we go, and next time she wants to drive because I might have hogged my buggy this weekend, but she's keen. She's mad keen behind the wheel too. So, and part of what we do is usually husband and wives or partners or however it works. But no, we encourage the family to get involved because it's a sport that you can share. That's the beauty of it. It's not like, we've all come from quad bikes, very solo, you're kind of on your own, but the buggies that's where the ability of the buggy is. You get to share the experience.
Yep. And one thing that I noticed, and you probably noticed it as well, really, really heavy on Polarises on this ride. Man, there were some Polarises there.
It was. I was sort of looking around and going, some of these guys turbos, some weren't turbos. I found my little niche. The guys, we kind of work out where you are in the food chain, I suppose, is in power and ability. And it was good for me because there was a fair crowd of Polaris guys there that are similar sort of category to mine. So I had plenty of guys to ride with. I loved it.
Yeah, and the pace wasn't flat out. I mean, the guys at the front were having a bit of fun and zipping forward and things like that, but the train really spreads out and no one gets left behind. Most of the time, as you can see from the video, which I'll drop in to the podcast in a sec, it really wasn't a high-speed ride. It was a proper trail ride. Everyone was comfortable.
Yeah, no, mate. Like I said, we only have 100 horse, 103 or whatever it is. Keep up, no problems. The times when it was open up and a little bit faster, that's when you see the big boys really come into their own. But we didn't miss out on anything, and we were part of everything all weekend.
Yeah, beautiful. And the Roadhouse, how cool is that to be able to rock up there at the end of the day of riding, have a hot shower, and then go into the pub and have a really good feed? Such a good location for a ride, wasn't it?
Oh, it was great. The hospitality was next level. Everything food, hot showers, good place to camp. Loved it all.
Yeah. And the lunch on the Saturday that the locals all put on for us, and I think half of the locals in the area were there. It was such a good spread, and that was all a fundraiser. And I need to get onto the fundraising side of things because that's part of what we're doing with the Side by Side Club of Australia and with the Side by Side Australia podcast is raising money. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, and I know I'll bang on about this all the time, a lot of what we do is raising money for local charities. And the reason we do that, apart from it's a good thing to do the right thing, it's to raise money, but not for the Royal Flying Doctor or Surf Life Saving or one of these massive organisations. It's for the local charity in the areas we ride or the areas we want to ride. And so what we do is we go to the local people who, like the lady who was nice enough to put on that lunch for us, we all chipped in. Of that massive expense of doing this ride was $40. Half of that was our insurance through Motorcycling Australia. The other half went towards that lunch. Now, she didn't pocket any of that money. Every cent of that money went to her charity of choice, which was for that young girl that lives in the area that they were raising money for, and they were selling hats and all that sort of stuff. And then on the other side of that, they have the Packsaddle Progress Association, which is all of the local farmers and workers all get together and they try to do things for the local community. And so what we've done for 2024 is every cent of charity money that we've raised is going back to the Packsaddle Progress Association. And that's how we gain access to all of these fantastic properties and why we're allowed back again. So I'm going to reiterate to everybody, if you've come on a ride or if you're a supporter of what we do, please dig deep and donate to our charity. There'll be information on the Facebook page on how to donate. If you're going to the Coorong Sand Dunes ride this coming weekend, Baker will be there and he'll take any donations. We just want to get as much money together as we can so we can hit our target of 10K, and we're going to donate that to the Packsaddle Progress Association at the end of the year. So a lot of the guys are saying, oh, look, I'm going to do $100 or $200 a ride because the rides are so cheap. And they're waiting till the end of the year and they're just going to do it all in one hit. That's fine. We're getting to the pointy end of the year now where we need to bring that money in so we can do that donation. So the details will be on Facebook page in the next couple of days on how to do that. But for now, I'm going to drop in the video that we put together. I'm sorry it's taken ages for me to do this video, but anyone who really knows me knows that I've had a little bit going on in the last couple of weeks. But everything's all good now, and we're getting there, and the video's all done, and it's all up on YouTube. So sorry to those listening to the podcast in audio format at the moment, but you're going to have about 2.5 minutes of music. But anyone watching the podcast on YouTube, this is the video, a bit of a highlight of what we got up to in Packsaddle. So, Noodles, how confident are we of where we are?
Yes.
Purple Monkey Dishwasher.
Yeah.
So where are we?
We are here, and we're following this pink line, and we're on a track right
on a
here.
Track. It's a very clear track.
Yeah.
Just there somewhere is a track. Okay.
And we're 13 k's from where we've got to turn.
Nice.
So it should take 4-6 hours tops.
Righty, bit of action there. Saw you a couple of times. You were going in the wrong direction, but that's okay.
I felt like every shot you got of me, I was being overtaken. I don't know what was going on there.
I think we were just showing off. Blame Tony. Don't blame me. Blame Tony.
I'm going to blame Tony. I definitely go a little quicker than what the video shows me.
Yeah. I must say, big shout out to Tony, who came all the way over from Griffith Motorcycles to come on the ride with us. Tony's one of my Can-Am dealers. He's also a Honda dealer based up in Griffith, and we were doing the Henty Field Days together about a month before the ride, and I mentioned that we're doing Packsaddle, and he's like, "Oh, Packsaddle! I love Packsaddle. I really like Packsaddle. Janice, can I go to Packsaddle?" And next minute, I've got a driver, so it worked out really well. He's a great fella, and he's always been really good to me, so I was lucky to have him along. Okay, Undumeri Expeditions. Not Undumeri, Undumeri. I pronounced it right. I've had my lesson.
Yep.
Okay, so tell us what it's all about, because I know there's plenty of guys out here saying, "Oh, the Kimberley in a side-by-side. How cool would that be?" What's it all about? What are you up to?
So most people have heard of Undumeri track or the Undumeri area. So we run side-by-side tours with the Morgan family, Ronnie Morgan, and they're part of the Ballangara mob. Ballangara have given us the access to this country to run our side-by-side tours on. So it's a Indigenous themed side-by-side tour. We try as hard as we can. The side-by-sides give us access, but it's a cultural experience the whole way through. So it's not just tracks, but along the way you'll be culture. There's teaching us all sorts of bush arts. Throw in there bit of bush tucker, cultural significant sites. We kind of get to explore. The Ballangara mob as such have given us open access with the TO travelling with us. So as we go through the country, we're not there by ourselves. We actually have somebody that was born and bred from the land with us. Oh, wow. And they can relate their knowledge back. And that's the part that's so exciting, because even after 12 or 13 trips through the country myself, I still learn every trip, and it's a fantastic experience.
Yeah, well, it's one of those once in a lifetime things. I mean, I've done the Cape a couple of times, and we've done riding all around Australia, but never really delved into the cultural side of things. Yeah, it'd be an amazing experience. And one of the other things that we've chatted about over the last few weeks, it's not like a normal tour where, okay, we're starting here, we're doing 250 Ks, we're getting to here, and then we're camping there, and then the next day we're doing another 400 Ks or whatever. If you're cruising along and you find a nice little lagoon and you're a bit of a fisherman, you can stop.
Yeah, mate. I encourage everyone to bring fishing rods with them. Along the way, chasing barramundis, at the end of the day, if we get a barramundi, we'll grab that and have that for dinner. Some of the campsites we actually stop at, we might, depending on it's all seasonal, so depending on what's in season at that time, plain turkey, get off and go and grab a plain turkey, and everyone have a bit of what we call a KFC, Kimberley fried chicken. So, yeah. But Ronnie being a traditional owner, he can hunt and bring in traditional foods for us, which is awesome. Part of the exercise is experiencing stuff that's new to us. So I think last season, Ronnie's brother came on one tour with us, and his spotted an area where we can make didgeridoos. So everyone in the group that was on that tour, we all got a length of tree. Literally went around, showed us the tree to find, cut that one down, and each of us came home with a didgeridoo. What else we do? Spear making, if that's, we get to an area and we got the right type of tree to use as a spear. Ronnie teaches you how to straighten them in the fire. I'm the apprentice on these trips, so I'm still learning everything as we go. And obviously barramundi. If you've never caught a barramundi before, we had 2 customers in particular this year, never even cast a rod in their life. Both come home with 70, 80 centimetre barramundis and smiles from ear to ear, and a new addiction to chasing barras around the countryside. So it's a package trip. It's not just we're going to do big Ks or rip up. An average day might be 40 kilometres. But that might take us 6 hours to do too. So it's kind of it's a technical thing. There's no graded roads. Once we go through Home Valley gates, forget anything that's been formed or graded in the last 20, 30 years. It's all proper exploring again. And we use the main Undumeri track, which Your followers have probably seen some of what the 24/7 four-wheel drive 24/7 boys have done up there with Ronnie. So that's the track. We use that as sort of our, how would you call it, our transport stages, and then we explore off that. So I'll find something on the GPS, or we fly over the country from time to time during the season and go, here's a new mark, I want to go to that waterhole, or here's a waterfall we haven't been to yet. So we'll start looking at ways to plot that in. And then when we get on the ground, that's where a bit of Ronnie's knowledge, well, not a bit of it, all of Ronnie's knowledge comes in, where we work with the country trying to find a way to get to these spots. Everything from rock art sites to waterfalls to, we went to one waterhole this last trip. It was about 9 k's from the main track. But by the time we did that 9 k's in, had lunch out there, the boys had a bit of a fish because it was a spot that nobody had cast a line in at least one generation. Wow. Come back, yeah, mate, catching 2 fish on the one lure at the one time, you know that spot's never seen a lure in its life. So it's just that sort of experiences. That's what we try to do. And for me, it's a way of finding new country and exploring, because my biggest hobby is exploring. I just want to see more country, more what's over that hill. And that's where these tours are also never really the same tour twice, because we go, okay, well, we flew over this the other day and we spotted that. Next season, we've actually got an area that I've been to by boat, but we've never actually got there by a vehicle. So I think we got within 16 k's where we wanted to get to last season. And we go, okay, well, we know what we're in for now. And tomorrow, our next trip we do, we'll set up a base a little closer, and we'll push further in. And again, there's some pretty. When you're in a helicopter and the helicopter pilot's going, hey, that's cool, then I've got a real desire to get there with a buggy. So, yeah, I don't want to give away too much, because that's the exciting part is what we've done versus what the customers are going to see. We got so much more to get to show on that country.
And you're not taking 30, 40 buggies out at a time either, are you? It's quite a tight group.
Yeah, so my business partner, Ronnie Morgan, he is a TO for that area. So part of his mantra is to make sure that country looks the same as it does now for when his kids grow up and are doing tours later on. So that being the case, we limit it back to about 6 buggies. We tread lightly, the whole principle of that. Basically, we want to go in and out, literally down to the fact that we don't burn any plastic in the fires, toilet papers burnt off, all that sort of stuff. We want to make it look like we've never been there. And the smaller groups, we can get away with doing that, and there's no scar on the land. You start having bigger groups, and it's just a numbers game. The more the impact on the land, the more it's not the same as what we want it to leave looking like. It's better than when we got there.
So it's not just a commercial tour. It's not just about get as many people in there as you can and make it as lean as you can to make as much money as you can. It's about you love doing these tours and you just want to share it with people.
For myself, non-Indigenous, it's a privilege just to even have access. You cannot get access onto this country unless you're with a TO. There is four-wheel drive tours. There's a couple of companies just over the hills, which is my business partner Ronnie. He has that as his family business. Sam Birch also does tours through this area. So we've got a couple of options if people want to do a four-wheel drive tour through it. But the buggy side of things is something that Ronnie and I have developed over the last couple of years, and we want people to experience what we experience, but you won't get that if it's a crowd. So we want to be able to, when you get up in the morning, go, oh, look, there's no one for 400 kilometres.
Now we've got probably 20 guys in the club that are all like, oh, I want to do one of these tours. I want to do one in January. What's the go? You guys are nearly booked out for next year already, aren't you?
I literally, yeah, we talked about this yesterday. I'm down to one buggy spot only left for 2025. 2026, there is a bit. So 2026, we're only going to do one tour through this country. 2026 is a significant year for the Balangara mob. It's 100 years since the Forest River massacre. So they want to have ceremony. We've been invited to bring one tour group in for that season, because that will actually be included with the ceremony for basically the healing of the country. Wow, so yeah. 2026 is going to be a very special one. 2025 is already booked out, bar one spot. We're trying to keep it small. We've got 2 months, really, maybe 3 if we push the season, if we get a really good wet season. But because we have to take everything in, and along the way we pull water and filter it and all that sort of stuff. It's a bit hard to explain. If you've never been to the country, there's nothing that you can get once you start the track. It all has to be carried in, carried back out again. So water is our biggest concern, and we have that window where it's either too wet or too dry to work in. So that 2 to 3 months tops is where we have that little window we can run them in there. Outside of that, coming in the near future, we're going to have some other tours that we're doing in other locations around Australia. But at the moment, the Undumeri track is our flagship tour. And yeah, it's booked out quick for next year. It's one of those things we weren't actually expecting the uptake to be so quick, but all of our customers from 2025 rebooked for 2024 rebooked for 2025. So we doubled the size or doubled the numbers of our tours, and that literally, it's not even the end of 24 yet, and we've already booked out most of 25 season. So it's exciting that there's so much interest in what we do, but we want to kind of keep it that it is that experience that you're not herded like sheep into, and you have to do, keep up with the pack type of thing. We want this to be something you go home and go, that's awesome. I just got to tell everyone else about it, and I want to do it again next year.
So if people want to find out more about your tours, how do they find you on socials? How do they find your website?
Okay, probably the easiest way to find us is on Facebook or Instagram. It's Undumeri Expeditions, Undumeri Expeditions. Otherwise, our Facebook page, that's our Facebook page. Our website is justoverthehills.com.au. Go to Just Over the Hills Tagalong Tours. Hit on the link there. There's one that says experiences and drops down. You've got side-by-side experiences, side-by-side Kimberley. That's where all the details for booking and everything's there. I think we'll probably get a link to that somewhere online. That might be the easiest way for people to remember it. But yeah, Undumeri Expeditions on Facebook is probably the easiest place, and then you can jump from there. And basically, most of the booking and all that sort of things comes through myself. So if you've got any questions, my phone number's there too. Give us a call, and we can talk you through how to prep for the trip. We do have some requirements there, what you need to bring, because it is so remote. But I'm happy to spend some time on the phone chatting to people about it, because it's one of those things we want you to rock up prepared, because there's nothing once you get there, and everything we take in has to come back out. So if you do a belt or a CV, we need to know what we got, and we don't sort of limit it to one specific brand or model of a side by side. So we do ask then that you bring specific parts for your side by side. So if we do have any issues, we've got them there. Along the way, we can repair and fix things, and my first trade's mechanic too. So people aren't left to their own, you've broken it, you've got to fix it now. That's part of the service we're providing, but it's a lot easier if you've got your belt or your CV that we can flick it in, flick it out on the run.
Yeah, and you were saying before when we were chatting, I think it was yesterday, we were having a bit of a chat, that you're getting quite a bit of interest from a lot of the brands that they want to get involved. Like everyone, Yamaha, Honda, obviously Can-Am and Polaris have always got their foot in the door, but CF Moto as well are getting really interested in getting more involved with what you're doing.
Yeah. There's it's kind of one of those things we weren't. It's an add-on. Our business relies on guys having side-by-sides to bring up for themselves, but then the dealers also need to, when they come to the point of sale, they need something to show the person, well, not only can you use it for what you're thinking you use it for, but then there's options. You can, we've got guys riding up Cape York, Tasmania, to Side-by-Side Club of Australia, what you're doing. Now we've got something we can offer in the Kimberley, and that is really good for those guys going, well, yes, it is an investment for a hobby, but it's something you can use. And what we got is like a trip of the lifetime stuff. So it helps everyone in the industry. What you guys are doing with Side-by-Side Club of Australia is fantastic, because it's not a cheap exercise to do a 10-day tour. So, and myself, you were saying before about me travelling all the way down to Packsaddle, I get the itch and I want to go driving too. So that sort of things for the rest of the year is great. But then if you want to do the one epic trip of a year, well, come and have a chat with us.
Yep. Awesome, mate. Oh, I'm so glad we got you on. I've learned a lot just in our chat in the last 20 odd minutes. Now, I just want to get on to the last thing I need to talk about for the podcast, but hang around. Now, the last ride that we've got coming up, which is actually this weekend, is the Coorong Sand Dunes. Now, BJ, I don't know whether you've driven much in sand dunes before, but it's a completely different experience. and it's what these things are made for. Have you ever done sand dunes before?
Nah, personally myself, I haven't had the privilege of playing in the sand yet.
Oh, mate, well, if you start driving now, I reckon you'd get to the Coorong in time for Friday afternoon session.
It'll take me 5 minutes to pack the buggy, mate, but let's do it.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, so for those guys who are coming down to the Coorong ride, unfortunately, I'm not going to make it. I haven't got the leave pass from the doctor to be able to get out of home yet. But we're going to be going back again twice next year because everyone loves this place so much. It's a unique thing that we've been using. Oh, wow. We started using this property, the same property, 25 years ago maybe, in the Quad Riders SA, in the Quad Club. And when I first took Chuckles, my father-in-law, my wife's old man, when I first took Chuckles to this ride, to this Coorong property, we rocked up and he said, I used to ride here when your wife was a little kid. So for anyone in South Australia, this is a really epic property that you probably may have been to before. But we've got exclusive access to it for the weekend. So we're riding from Friday lunchtime through to Sunday lunchtime. And it's just one of those rides, because it's a camp away, it's not a trail ride. So speed's not a factor. If you just want to go out into the sand dunes and have a bit of a poke around and have a bit of a look, that's cool as well. But basically what we do is we go out in one big train, and we go for a ride for an hour, hour and a half, whatever, scoot around. We'll have someone like Andy Mudguts from Ostraco, who knows that place like the back of his hand. He'll probably be lead. Baker, our president, will probably be sweep. And we'll have a bunch of guys in between who know the area as well. And we basically just cruise through the sand dunes. It's such a good property. Night riding in the sand dunes is almost spiritual. You've got to do it. It's just incredible. You don't feel the bumps because the buggy soaks them up anyway, and you don't see them because it's dark. And you've got your headlights. You get your laser lamps on there and light up the sand dunes, but you don't see a lot of the bumps, and so it feels a lot smoother at night than it does during the day. You're not bracing yourself for the bumps. But it's just an amazing spot. So if you're planning on coming or thinking about coming this weekend or going, definitely do it. Jump onto the website. It's $70 for the whole weekend per person. That's kids, adults, drivers, whatever. It's just $70 flat rate. That includes all your camping. There's flushing toilets. That's it. There's nothing else. So you've got to take everything yourself. It's about 23 k's from the town of Kingston, Kingston southeast. Don't fall into the trap of putting Kingston into your GPS. There's two Kingstons in South Australia. One's Kingston on Murray, which is near my place in the Riverland, and then there's Kingston southeast, which is the one we're going to. So you can actually stay at the motel in Kingston if you want, and just leave your trailer out with the guys if you're not really into camping, and then just go out each day. And you can go in there for meals if you want, but most people are going to go out there and camp, do all their cooking, sit around the campfire, have a quiet ale after they've had their night ride, and it's just a fantastic opportunity. If you're only going to do one ride for the year and you don't want to travel too far, Coorong Sand Dunes is absolutely epic. So get into it. So that's this weekend. We've chatted about Packsaddle. We've chatted about Undumeri Expeditions. Thank you so much, BJ, for coming along and being part of the podcast for episode 6.
Thanks, Mick, for having me, mate. That's awesome. Thank you.
Too easy, mate. You enjoy that sunshine up there in Queensland. And no doubt we'll see you at another one of the Side-by-Side Club of Australia rides down the track, or hopefully up in the Kimberley at some point.
Yeah, mate. Like I said, you're more than welcome to come and join us, Mick. We'd love to have as many of you guys up there, and we've got something pretty special we want to show you all.
Awesome. Good on you, BJ. Thank you, guys. We will catch you for episode 7 in a few weeks after the Coorong ride. If you're going to the Coorong, be safe. Keep it shiny side up. Don't do what I did last time I went there and double turtle. But, yeah, have a bowl. Enjoy everything you're doing with your side-by-sides, and we will catch you in a few weeks.